this.
You've gone rogue, man.
I've gone off script.
I went from having like 3,000 customers to having like 25,000 customers in the space of 6 months.
We're all born artists. Give any 5-year-old pencils and paper and they'll create something wonderful without a second thought. But we grow up and art becomes intimidating. We're conditioned to second guess our taste in art and the pure joy a kid feels in art gets squashed. Hi, I'm George, co-founder of Bluethumb, and I'm here with my colleague Amy, and this is the Art in My Home podcast. We explore the stories behind the art people have in their homes.
We want to give everyone permission to love art, to trust their judgment, and to find joy in colouring the walls of their home. Anyone can collect art. At Bluethumb, we're dedicated to creating a welcoming home for Australian artists and are making it our mission to find perfect artwork for homes.
So, today's guest is photographer, artist and designer Dominique Gauci of DG Designs.
Hi.
Welcome.
Dom has collaborated with some of the world's most recognised brands and is an official artist of the Australian Football League. She's been featured on multiple seasons of The Block, has tens of thousands of Instagram followers, and her iconic designs have likely popped up on your Instagram feed. Welcome, Dom.
Hi, that was such a good intro for me. I love it.
Thank you. Cool. So, Dom, tell us about the art you currently have in your home.
Oh, well, so I've definitely noticed, I didn't think I had a style until you guys asked me to take photos and show you. And then I was like, oh, I have a style. And it's all photography so far. So I have a lot of, I would say, nostalgic photography. So I have obviously my own work, which is nostalgic of my travels. And then I have some Slim Aaron's prints, which remind me of Palm Springs and how much I love Palm Springs.
Yes.
And then I have Dana Broadhurst as well. That's not nostalgic, but it's just cool. And my new artwork that is going to be hung, it's not up on the walls yet, is photography of, and this is really cool. I want to like somehow do this in my own business. These American 3 girls have taken photographs of old matchbooks from like very notable restaurants and hotels in the US, and they're just like a 12 by 12 inch square photograph, high res, and they are so cool. So I've ordered 12 of those because I want to hang them up in my house. But yes, that would be the sort of style now that I've realized that I'm into, I guess, travel inspired photography.
And nostalgic, is that the same as retro, or is it sort of different?
I think it's more like nostalgic personally for me.
Yeah.
So it's I spend a lot of time in the US. I went to school in New York and I lived in LA for a while. So anything that is American themed, whether it is from the 70s or it's from now, just reminds me of my favorite place. So I guess more nostalgic than retro.
I noticed your Beverly Hills and your Palm Spring bedside table images. They're super cute.
Yes.
And I was just telling George about Slim Aaron's. He's like, who's Slim Aaron's? I'm like, what? Slim Aaron's?
Oh my God. I find that so weird. I went into the Canon store the other day to look at a new camera, and I was saying how some people had come into my store mistaking my work for Slim Aaron's, and they were like, who's Slim Aaron's?
Oh, wow.
Are you like in the photography world? How would
Also,
you not
what a
know?
compliment at the
I
same
know,
time.
It's good. I have a few sort of like Palm Springs and Laguna Beach shots that were inspired by him to some extent. It's really funny watching people like hustle into the store and be like, how much is the Slim Aaron's in the front window? And I'm like, actually,
Not quite.
that's me. And they get such a shock.
No, I like
I
that.
think you need to take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
I do.
Massive, massive compliment.
What was school in New York like? And was this sort of post-high school, or was this...
Yeah, so I actually studied here a degree in communication design at Swinburne, and I'd had this like I don't know, two minds way of life where I was like, do I go down this design route or do I go down a writing? Because I was really good at creative writing as well. And so what I did is I wanted to do my master's in journalism just to see how it went. Anyway, I just rolled the dice, thought, let's see if I can apply to go to school in the US. And I didn't want to just go to any school. It had to be Ivy League just because whatever. And I got into Columbia. So I started the journalism there. And I found what happened is when I was doing my homework and assignments, and they would take 8 hours to do, it would feel like 8 hours. But then when I would do anything design related, 8 hours felt like 30 minutes. And I was like, I think I know which way I'm going. Yeah. But it was good. It was obviously incredible to have that experience, be on campus and experience that life. But it was definitely not the direction I ended up going down.
And because Columbia's in New York,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So, but you have a lot of LA sort of inspiration, Californian inspired art in your house. So did you make the trip over to LA from there? Or?
I actually started in LA.
Oh, fan.
And it's funny. This is actually how my business started by accident. But I started in LA. I was living with a girlfriend. I was working as a celebrity stylist assistant. And that was so much fun. And it was just the weather was always good. The clothes were good. Everyone was really healthy. But the traffic was shocking. And everyone was a bit fake to some extent. But whatever. You're in LA. It's fine. And then I went to school in New York after that. And I love it equally. It's just they're completely different places. But when I was on this expedition, I set myself a goal of doing a drawing a day just for fun, because I used to do a lot of hand sketches, and I was just doing them, and I'd post them on Snapchat at the time, which was before Instagram stories.
The social media.
Yeah. When it was very cool, 2015. And I did this outline drawing of Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic, and I posted on my Snapchat, and I had all these people message me being hey, this is really cool. You should sell this. And I was I don't know. Anyway, I started an Instagram, and then people would DM me and be hey, can you do one of David Bowie or whatever? And it sort of just evolved from there. But I don't know if you saw, there is the Leo in my house.
I did, yes.
And there's a Frenchie too.
There is a Frenchie, yeah. I did see the Leo. I was wondering what the meaning was behind that one.
Yeah, so that was my first ever drawing that I ever did, as a DG design.
Yes.
And then obviously it developed into the more colourful digital art. But yeah, it's sort of an ode to the beginning. And that whole room is American themed. So I've got the Beverly Hills Hotel, and then I've got the Slim Aaron's Palm Springs and the American cushions.
Why not?
New sense of theme.
Yeah. Ooh, I think you like the US. I think so too. And I guess that kind of ties back into, what you kind of want your guests or anyone visiting your home to kind of feel when they visit you.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I'm also massive into the holidays, and I hate that people here don't get into Halloween or they don't get into Christmas the way they should. But my house is you can see it from a mile away. I am decorated nonstop for every holiday. At the moment, it is a Christmas wonderland. I'll show you guys some photos after. It's amazing. It looks so good. But yes, I think when people come over, I want them to feel not like they're in America, but that it's my home, and there's a sense of joy that I get from it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, totally, because I think a lot of your artworks are quite joyous as well.
Yeah, yes, they're nothing dark and scary.
No.
Actually, my next door neighbour, and this is such a sidetrack story, but we have this fence where we can kind of see over into their lounge room. And they have the scariest piece of art I've ever seen. It's what's that? Oh, God, that famous artist. I feel like it's going to be Salvador Dali, where the face is melting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So imagine 4 of them in a big, dark, black and green thing. And I text him, and I was your painting's giving us nightmares. Can you put it in a different room? It reminded me of, has anyone seen that episode of Friends where Phoebe has that huge Gladys portrait. It's like that scary doll coming
yes,
out of.
Yes.
Anyway, it's like that, and I don't want people to feel like that. In
No.
my home.
Even if they're looking over.
Yeah, I don't want anyone. It brings bad energy.
Breaking your vibe.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, they moved it.
They moved
That
it.
was good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
And I've told them like 20 times. I'm like, it's time to come down to the store and buy some
Yeah,
real art.
that's
Like,
Absolutely.
no
Let
to
me
that.
help you.
Yeah.
It's something that doesn't scare the hell out of you
That's
when you
it.
go into your living room. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Beautiful.
It's funny. I went through the block houses this year,
Mm-hmm.
and the house there's a house that was pretty much like a Dominique Gauci
Yeah.
house. It felt like they'd started with like
Yeah.
your art and kind of renovated the house around it.
Yeah.
Was it a nice feeling going in there and just seeing, every wall with your art on there?
Yeah. Well, this year, like, it obviously feels amazing. The first like big one was Sarah and George during COVID.
Yes.
Yes.
So that house was like literally the entire house was decked out. Like the hallway had like 7 prints. Upstairs had like 8 prints. It was just everywhere. And that was like huge for me back in the day because it was the first sort of real televised publicity. But then this year it was incredible. Obviously they had upstairs in the kids' room, they had the prints that I've already done before, like the ice creams and whatever. But it was the first time that Dolce, which I had only launched a year ago, which is the travel photography, it was the first time that had really gotten like recognition. And it just sort of made me feel like, okay, good, I'm on the right track. Because I sort of took a gamble with that. Didn't know if it was going to work out, but I thought, hey, I'm just going to give it a shot. And it's worked out well. So I'm happy with that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How'd they first find you? Was it Sarah and George who said it was first? Was it they just found you through Instagram, or was there?
So the first year before Sarah and George was Mark and Mitch. They
I remember them.
Yes.
Yeah, they were great.
So they had a piece of mine, like a Kate Moss one, but I can't even remember how they found me. Someone from the block shop contacted me
Sure.
and said, we like your style of art. I think it would work well in the houses. Why don't you put like some pieces in it? We've got a pop-up shop and the contestants, if they want, they can pick from your art and then whatever, you get paid the wholesale rate or whatever. And I had a few spare copies in the warehouse and I was like, I'll just put it in, see what happens. And they picked it like the next day. So that was the first year. And then the next year, I guess, when Sarah and George came on, they said, oh, we saw that piece. And there wasn't even anything left in the store. They actually commissioned me to do a whole bunch of different art for that
Fantastic.
house. So, and then I don't even know, I guess, like just word of mouth spreads over the seasons. I think you just got to get in once and then people remember you from watching previous.
Absolutely. And I think even the team members speaking between each other being like, she's been so easy to work with.
Yes.
Like, how soon can we get a painting? Obviously, that rush kind of need to fill a room.
Yes.
What's going to be done quick.
Yeah,
So works
and-
for you and your whole, your shop.
It's been good. And also, like, okay to be on camera as well because they make you come in and you fully have to mic up.
Yes.
And I feel like some people might crumble. Like they full were grilling me this year. I don't even think it got aired, but like in case it does, like they go hard at the questions on the spot.
Like what?
Oh, like they've
What's your greatest fear? Or?
kind of like it was that. No, it wasn't.
This is it.
Well, when we delivered the massive Dolce piece of Palm Springs, they had to record the reaction like 4 times of them pretending to see it and then asking like 100 questions about the print, which obviously I can answer. But, they're like, so where exactly did you shoot this and what day and what was the weather and tell me the inspiration? I'm like, oh my God, I thought it was just dropping off a delivery. But yeah, I feel like I've done it a few times now that it's fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
They've got to get that content, don't they?
They
Just
do.
in case.
Yes,
Yeah.
just in case or behind the scenes or if they're doing on Instagram, they want to like post
Oh,
on
absolutely.
socials.
Yeah.
And I guess like career-wise, you know, you went viral on Snapchat. I didn't realise you could actually do that, but I guess you can.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Like spikes like that in your career versus, you know, being on the most watched kind of renovation show in Australia. Do you see massive kind of follower boosts and just see big kind of spikes, or it just is builds and kind of builds one on top of the other, these things?
It's not like massive spikes. Like, yes, there's definitely an influx in sales, but I found like the biggest ever spike that I had was after we went into lockdown, and I'm sure 100 other artists would say the same thing. It just, everybody was buying stuff for the home, and once, like, I think because I had been in the scene for a while, kind of doing the print thing before a lot of other people got onto it, it pushed me to the top. So it was insane. I think I went from having like 3,000 customers to having like 25,000 customers in the space of 6 months.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was really good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
of course.
sucked for a lot of people, but I was
Yeah.
like, this is the best year of my life.
Yeah.
And then from that, I guess you get exposure to other things like corporate collaborations. I got quite a few after that from like L'Oreal and Barbie and all of that, just from seeing it on Insta and people buying and word of mouth. But yeah.
How was that initial pivot though, from going from such a small, well, not a small even, but a smaller customer base to, you know, servicing 20,000 kind of customers?
Wow, it was hectic. I have a really good production partner, and he sort of saw the same thing on his side too. He does all printing, framing, and shipping, and we kind of went into it together, like as a team. And I would yell at him all the time, call him, yell at him multiple times a day that we've got to get stuff out and whatever. And it was sort of just like a massive learning curve, but like no one really cared in the end. Like you get a few customers that are like, where's my print? It's been 3 weeks. And I'm like, have you read what it says on the website?
Yeah.
Everything is made to order. Like, and he's better at the customer service side because I get annoyed. So I just palm everything off to him, but it was good to like learn that I'm not in it by myself anymore. Like I need a team around me to service this many people.
Yeah, the greatest day in Bluethumb history for me was when we hired our first person to do customers.
Oh my
And it wasn't George.
When it wasn't
Because,
George.
you know, you get some customers and like, for instance, this stuff really annoys me. I have set sizes on my website and it says like 60 by 90 centimeters is one of the options. And then you'll get someone be like, hi, what size is 60 by 90? And I'm like, and I can't be rude, but I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Can you not read this? Anyway, but then James comes in and he's like, hi, so this size is 60 by 90 centimeters. Let us know if you have any other questions. I'm like, okay, thank God you handled that.
Do they want a relative? It's about the size of it.
I don't have time for this.
Oh,
The
God.
joys. So I've taken us off track a bit.
Yes.
Back to the art in your home.
Yes.
If there was like, okay, money not an issue.
Okay.
You could open, you know, any amount of money. What piece would you throw in your home? Anything that exists. Have you thought about that?
I haven't. I mean, there's like a few people that I follow. I haven't really settled on someone that I'm like dying to invest in yet. I think, and I'm not saying that I like my own art the best, but sometimes I see pieces that I really like, and in my head, I want to try and recreate it myself. There is a painter in New York called Blair's. I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but she does these like sort of like fashion illustration portraits of famous, iconic restaurants in New York, and it's like these girls out the front. And I want to buy one. They're not even expensive, but I'm in my head, I'm like, I want to see what I can do to recreate that in my own way. But to answer your question, there is one piece by Stuart Cantor. It's called The Merc and the Moke. And the size that I want, it's like $5,000. So I'll get there.
Of course.
At this point in time, I'm like, I should probably put my own travel photography in the house before going to his. But he's amazing. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he's got incredible photos.
Because you have quite a few kind of female portraits or very figurative works at the moment, like with the Dina Broadhurst.
Yes.
I love the orchids, the orchid head. I
Yes.
don't even know how to describe that, like
It's
for listeners visually, but yeah,
Yeah.
massive orchid heads. They're just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, so that one was that was the first piece of art that I bought, and I love it. It's just it goes with every sort of style. I
Agreed.
feel.
Yeah.
The other piece, which is
Yes. Was that one of hers as well? I was trying to find it earlier online,
back
but
to my story of trying to recreate my own thing. I asked her to commission that for me.
Beautiful.
And the cost was double figures.
wow.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
double. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm a graphic designer.
Yep.
And I had the exact photo that I wanted to use. So I did it myself.
Yeah.
It took me 25 minutes. And I got it framed, obviously, in-house.
Yeah.
And people come over and they're like, is this a Dina? And I'm like,
Yeah.
someone else.
Inspired?
Yeah.
And like, not to be mean to her or anything.
No,
'cause, like,
not at
I
all.
love her work. I just like was like, you know what? I'd rather like save that 10K and make it for whatever.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a compliment
You've
to
got the
the artist
skills.
that you've,
That's
you
it.
know, taken inspiration.
That's
so.
it. And I don't sell it or anything.
No, no.
It's just for the home.
No, but yeah, no, when I was looking, I was like, I think that's one of those as well. But
Yeah.
no, very good.
Oh, good.
So that first Dina Broadhurst piece, the two women in the chair with the
Yeah.
flower heads. Where were you when you got it?
Where was I?
Yeah, was it here in Melbourne? Or?
Yes,
Yeah,
in Melbourne.
okay.
Yes, I think it was during COVID. It was like a present to myself / end of financial year write-off.
I love
Trying
it.
to reduce my tax bill because, like, obviously we went into lockdown in whatever, like March, and then my sales went through the roof. And so my accountant was like, all right, we need you to do this. Buy whatever you can. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can definitely do
What
that.
else do I need to get?
Finally,
Yeah.
the accountant's telling me
That's
something
it.
I like.
Yes, finally.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how much of the art, we see an art spike coming up to end of financial year.
For sure,
and, yeah.
100%. I'm the same. I get a lot of office fit outs
Yes.
around that time, so it's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, based on that floral one, do you get many commissioned works yourself then?
Oh my God, I have done so many.
Yeah, sure.
Like for the DG side, I've probably done like 3,000 over
Wow.
7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I cannot tell you how many French bulldogs I've drawn. How many like sports stars, family portraits, babies. Sometimes I get cars, but I'm pretty strict now on what I say yes to because like sometimes people want a full group shot and it's just like not worth my time anymore.
Of course.
But yes, I've done quite a few.
And what's kind of the process behind a commission through you?
Well, so all my custom work is at a much higher price point. And that cuts a lot of the inquiries like more than in half. Just because it is like such a process. It starts off similar to like my Leo sketch. I'll like hand draw it out, sketch it, pop it into the computer, and then I'll like digitize it and color it in. But the whole process, it's like a 5 to 10 hour, including like exporting and everything. But this time of the year is so busy because like everyone
time.
wants. Oh no! Everyone
Christmas.
wants their dogs.
Of course they do.
And or like their families and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of the process.
You strike me as someone who works incredibly hard, Dom. You have a gallery, you have like multiple brands, you've done 3,000 commissions. Do you just work 7 days a week?
At the moment, yes, because I have some control issues where I just don't think that anyone can sell my work in the store. I will see someone go in and like try to sell and they just can't do it, and then I'll go in and it'll be sold in like 2 seconds.
Sure.
So I'm working in the shop every single day except for Mondays. And then when I'm off, like when I'm not in the pop-up, usually the weekends I do take off, but like you're always on emails and I'm always checking because I'm on the chat shop thing if people are like, hey, what size is this or whatever. So,
Sure.
oh, you're thinking about social media. I guess, yes, I'm always working. The answer is yes, I'm always working. Even when I'm traveling now, it's like work to some extent, but it's not because it doesn't feel like work
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
You enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it. That's like my biggest advice to anyone in life. Like, do what you love because it doesn't feel like work. The money will come. Just takes time.
It's nice that you're so connected to the customers, though. Like
Yeah.
when they're chatting, they're getting you.
When they're not
So,
asking me what size it is, that is.
besides that.
Maybe it's philosophical.
Yeah.
Classic. And you mentioned already some of the brands you sort of partnered with or worked with. I'm really curious about the AFL partnership
Yeah.
because I saw I've seen lots of stuff on Instagram and you're sort of in there and at events and how did that come about?
Well, so what happened? Oh, yeah, 2020 again was just
Big year.
incredible.
Your year.
Huge. My year. Take me back. But what happened is I had started working with bigger brands and it was on my vision board because the sports prints are like my most requested. And I found that what happened, like my biggest buyers are women, but they're buying it for their husbands or their boyfriends or whatever, or their sons because it's not ugly. It's not like old memorabilia, jerseys signed, or
yeah.
like, and people are okay to have them. The ladies are happy to have them in their house. So I got my operations manager who does like all of my marketing overview. And I said to him, we need to get the AFL because I feel like so many people are asking me, DMing and asking for custom, like whatever, Dustin Martin. There's obviously a market here. So he happened to know someone who knew someone who worked in licensing, showed her, and she called up straight away and was like, send me the pitch and we'll see. And we pitched it through and they loved it and they loved the idea of, I think because they'd started the women's team.
Yes, the AFW.
Yeah, AFL. I was going to say,
Yep.
yeah. So they were in this sense of like, we need to support women as well. We want to get more women interested in the sport. And the year before, Richmond had won the grand final and I had done a collaboration with them. And when they posted on social, everyone was messaging Richmond saying, can we buy these as prints? So there was like some proof that it was going to work there. And now I think we're 3 years in. I've just renewed my contract for 1 more year. And we're going to see how it goes over the next year. And then, yeah, I mean, it's been really interesting to work with such a huge corporation. It's such a learning curve for me because it's like such a small business compared to a huge mega business. But it's been some good life lessons, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realise AFL invested in art, but there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably the first. You're the first I've seen.
Yeah, I have my own license. It is for art, but they have like a memorabilia licensee who does all of like the premiership stuff and like the signed jerseys,
yes,
and the stuff that I'm not into.
Yeah, of course.
And that is a huge licensee for them because people do love that stuff. But I'm trying to come in as this like alternative that is nice on the wall.
Happy on your kid's wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've seen the decals. So we collaborated with Pick a Wall to do the decals, and they have been selling so well. The kids love them because they're like life-size images of the players. So they work really well in the kids' rooms.
Great.
Josh Dacos, number one.
Oh, Nick Dacos, yeah.
Nick Dacos,
Nick
right.
Dacos.
Yeah, but I knew it.
Tell him a Crow supporter.
It's Nick Dacos and Charlie Curnow.
Yeah. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're huge with the kids.
Yeah.
So
I think did he win the Coleman, maybe? He kicked the most goals, I think, Charlie. Maybe. Yeah,
I
think
know.
he did.
I'm actually like not a massive. Not that I'm not a fan. I'm just I don't know a lot about the actual game. I know the players and the players' faces, but if they like kicked 100 goals, I couldn't tell you.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah. I need my boyfriend to like tell me. I'm like, so is this player retiring?
Is he
like,
good?
Can you give me the
Like-
updates?
Getting a lot of requests for this one player.
Exactly.
Would you do it for a US team?
That's what I hope. The only thing that my pain point so far is that the license fee for the AFL is maybe 1/10 of what it is for the NBA or like an international sports team. So I am trying to find a way around that, whether or not I can collaborate with another licensee over there, and then that way I don't have to hold the license. But to outlay like millions of dollars, that's not happening on my end.
Sure.
Not yet.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Wow. That's massive.
It is. But I think there are other ways to go about it. Like, as I said, if I can collaborate with someone over there, should be good.
And the USA is sort of the big plan for next year.
It is.
Tell us about that.
Yes. So another pain point, and I'm sure you guys are the same, shipping artwork from here to the US is just not a thing. It's either costs an arm and a leg, and I do have some clients in New York who are happy to pay for that, but most of, like, my prints are more affordable, so most of those people aren't going to pay like $150, $200 for shipping, when the print might only be like $400. So I think in January, February, I'm heading over there to start doing some research in LA about different art galleries to collaborate with and see if they're interested in stocking the brands. But further to that, I'm going to the West Coast Art and Framing Trade Show in Vegas. That is in the start of February, and basically it's like this huge trade show of printers, framers, shippers. So if I can find someone over there that can do that for me, it means that any US orders I get will just go direct from there, and I don't have to worry about like a high shipping cost or maybe, breaking in transit. So that's the initial plan. And then over the span of the year, just seeing how I can expand out there, and potentially doing pop-ups maybe towards the middle of the year when it's warmer weather, not out in the snow.
Yeah.
And then around Christmas time, so I have a girlfriend over there who has a really successful pajama brand. She just did a collaboration with Kathy Hilton for some Christmas pajamas, and she collaborates with hotels to design ranges of pajamas for them. And she's been so helpful giving me tips on like where to do pop-ups, where like the affluent people go and shop for these sort of things. So hopefully I can just do a few there, and it just takes time.
Yeah, of course.
Meeting some stylists, whatnot. But that's kind of the plan.
Maybe you need a gift into the Real Housewives,
Oh my
all
God,
of them.
that's a really good idea. Do you
I'm
watch
sure.
Do you actually? That is so...
Kathy's joined in the later seasons, hasn't she?
Oh my God, that is so funny that you watch it. Yeah, I've tried
Probably
really,
shouldn't admit that.
really, really hard to. There's too many now. Like I tried Salt Lake City, but I only got a few episodes in. But I think I can only do Beverly Hills and then original New York. The rest I can't.
Yeah,
There's too many. There's too many now, and I don't like the fights. I actually genuinely just like the fashion and the restaurants. That's what I'm there for. But
not liking the fights is 60% of
I know, that's it. I'm like, can you just shut up and show me what you're wearing?
But what about dialing it back and bring it to the Sydney Real Housewives?
That's not a bad idea. I did have on my vision board to do a pop-up in Sydney. So maybe next year. I just need to suss. I've got to suss the year. I've got to get through this year first. It's like the busiest time. And then once I cross that like Boxing Day sale,
Yes.
then I can like think about what I'm gonna do.
Out of interest, where's your main market? Is it Melbourne, or is it Australia, Melbourne?
It's Melbourne, Sydney.
Yeah.
I do get quite a few as well to the Gold Coast and Brisbane.
Sure.
Including stylists up there
Yeah,
because
of
they
course.
like the sort of beachy vibes of the travel photography for like clients
Yes.
who have more beachy houses.
Yes.
I have a bit of a sort of network in Perth, which again with the shipping is also a nightmare. It's like at the moment with Christmas.
Oh, why as soon as one train goes down, it's like the whole country's, half of the country's cut off, isn't it?
Yeah, we've discovered that a lot of stuff gets to Perth via train, haven't we?
Why
'Cause,
train?
Oh, my
we've
God.
had all sorts of troubles.
Yes, but I would say at the moment it is Melbourne and Sydney. And then I get requests from like the UK, the US, and New Zealand. New Zealand's fine. I can ship to New Zealand. That's fine. I just don't put it on my website because it's too hard like to calculate shipping on. I have so many variants, so many different sizes and options. It's too tricky to do that yet.
Yes. So do you sell already framed, or can you sell print, rolled in a tube, send off as well? You do both?
So I do both.
Yeah.
So the A4s and A3s are flat packed.
Yep, beautiful.
And then anything bigger is like double tubed.
Yep.
Just for safety, because like that's my worst nightmare, having like a kink in that.
Oh, and just like, what are the couriers playing like lightsabers with them? You just never know.
They throw them around.
They do.
Like I've had parcels come back like with footprints on them where they fully stood on it, and the courier companies will do anything to get out of it, paying the insurance claim.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're like, it doesn't look crinkled enough. It could have happened on your end. I'm like, are you serious? There's a full footprint.
And why would I? Like, it's too obvious.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, I just have one more question.
Yes.
What size is 60 by 90?
Oh my God. That was good.
Inches or centimetres?
If people sort of want to find you, where's the best spot to find your art?
I would say
socials.
the best would be Instagram.
Yep.
Like obviously the website's where you can purchase everything, but on my Insta, I really try to demonstrate the different sizes I have, how they look in the house. So it's a better visual on there. So my Instagram is, you can type in DG Designs and it'll come up because of, I don't know, SEO.
Yeah.
But it's but someone already has that handle. So it's Dom Gauci _designs, and that will have Dolce on it. But Dolce has a separate, that's the travel photography, that has a separate Instagram if you just want to be following that, because there are kind of different markets. And that is Dolce _Dominique.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Dom. Thanks for
worries.
the chat.
Thank you so much for coming in. Yeah.
That was so fun.
Yeah, good.
The dog was well behaved.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Very surprising, and I didn't hear a fart. So.
No, I think I did. I did.
Get out.
And I'm sorry, I mispronounced Gauci. I worked with someone who pronounced his name Gauci.
Yeah, or most people. I don't even correct people anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't. Honestly, don't stress. But like my background is Maltese, and we say Gauci.
Gauci.
Yeah. So I always just think of Saucy, and
Saucy,
then rhyme it with
yeah, that's
Saucy.
great, yeah.
Saucy Gauci.
Saucy Gauci.
That's it. That's me.
Good marketing.
Yeah, I like
it. Next round of photography.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saucy Gauci range. I like it.